unfold with a wink and a smile. Turn up the dial, let the good times roll. We're riding this wave straight to the soul. No time for the worry, no time for the blues. We're chasing the moments we don't want to lose.
Well, hello, y'all. I am with a very good friend of mine who I'm excited to have on the show for tons of reasons, primarily just to have fun. Like, this is going to be for you and I to hang out, Dino. And exactly, that's how it starts out. And for those that can't see the video, he's got tiny little skeleton hands that he uses for this. Just a magician, literally. So, Dino, you're literally a magician, but also a magician like with people. That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about connecting with people, how you connect with people, how you have this incredible background to get where you're at now, which is just serving people. Look, I'm the recipient of this. You've been an incredible mentor for speaking and for all things emceeing, engaging, the podcast, all of it. Just like, so you helped me move the needle on a ton of stuff. And so I wanted to have, people get to know you, because I want people to be able to go to your sites and reach out to you and just see the things that you do, because the truth is you've been performing, if you will, at one level or another for nearly 60 years. Am I right?
Absolutely.
And you're 50.
All I have to say about all that is you need to get out more.
Exactly. And I just did, which is why I barely got here in time for our show. Barely did. Dino, you're also a reverend. Like you're a sweet man. Like, you care about people. You love the Lord. You serve. Like, you literally are a servant leader. And I love this. So we get together every week, of course, and get to talk about the stuff that's going on and encourage each other as we do with the rest of our group. And so where I want to start is, I know that you have a platform that is just what I mentioned. It's about caring for people, taking care of people, and you have found a way to build a very good business over the years doing this. And so, but let's start out from when you were a kid. You started out doing magic as a boy, right? So how far back are we going, and what kind of magic was this? Who was it for? And let's start there.
Yeah, it all started 1961. When I was 5, I was already sort of involved in theater and doing all that kind of fun stuff. And I asked my parents, I saw the, one of those TV style magic kits and the magician who was on TV. And so I asked, like every 5-year-old boy, I imagine at some point or another, asked for a magic kit for Christmas, got it. And I never grew out of it, is what it really boils down to. Most people go like, okay, I had that phase. Not me. So
you kept playing.
Yeah. And it served me well. I mean, I was actually making money as a performer. When you're 5, you really don't have to make that much of a living, obviously. Thank you, Mom and Dad. But, I'm making my full-time living. I mean, living on my own and making my full-time living since I was 16 and producing theme park shows when I was 12 and, doing magic shows for Apple and Hewlett-Packard. I lived in Northern California, Silicon Valley, the Bay Area. And, but I was, a fat, waddly little magician kid who just, got along because I was okay. And the novelty was I was a cute kid, I guess. Not that cute. I was a kid
producing shows at 12.
That's
like
right.
For adults with their kids, and you got a mixed group.
Did a couple of there was a local baby park and petting zoo in our town called Happy Hollow, and Frontier Village, and a few others that are now, Happy Hollow's still there, and then went on to produce and perform in Disney and Marriott's, what was then Marriott's Great America, in Northern California, and Raging Water. Anyway, on and on and on. Just all kinds of fun, thematic, magical adventures for sure.
So how are you hustling this as a kid? Like, how does a 12-year-old, you just get on the phone and just call Apple or HP and look, I know you probably get a lot of people calling on you, but
yeah, that's right. Years of celibacy and self-denial. That's how you do it. It was one of those things where, I could say Northern California back when I was a kid was a very friendly, very safe place and all that other kind of stuff. And, when you do things, you get seen by thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. And, got some little local news coverage, both on TV and all that stuff. Just the novelty of being a kid. But I'll tell you the claim to fame in the magic business for me, and it still is true today, was that even as a kid, I was doing, we don't use the F word, as you know, but I was doing fundraisers for elementary school. So fundraisers, the F word.
Right.
Yeah.
Just family show here, just to be clear.
So, and out of that, the other kids' parents would come see me and they'd say, hey, can you come do that for our, company picnic or holiday function or whatever. And that's kind of how it grew. I mean, I got seen by hundreds, if not thousands of people on shows when I was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, on and on and on. Very young child, because it was, a novelty. You didn't have to be good because, A, you weren't charging, when you're doing a fundraiser, saying, hey, if there was a way I could help raise money for the school, would you at least be interested in having a conversation? And the answer was always yes.
Yeah, because you're a kid asking too.
I do a show where I do an assembly show during the day, and then a night and a half later, 2 nights later, we would do a family fun night, which was a ticketed event, which then we did a 50-50 split. And so if we brought $1,000 in ticket sales through the door, I'd walk out of there with $500 plus whatever I sold, and they'd walk away with $500 and at no cost or risk to them. So I didn't even have to be good.
But as a kid, you're walking away at $500 a gig.
Yeah, back in the 60s and 70s.
Riding high.
So, or
man,
more.
I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, like to, you're not even driving yet, and you're walking out in the 70s with a $500 check. Thank you very much. But they're also getting $500, like you said.
That's
and they
exactly
didn't have to
right.
do anything. They didn't come. So you figured out a way. Like, that's a pretty astute business mind as a boy. Like nobody coached you on, hey, you know what? If you just put this together, it's a win-win, and you walk away with some money, they get some money. This just like came to mind as a kid.
I to be honest with you, I believe there was a magician came to our school when I was a very young child as well. His name was Ben Toussaint, the great Toussaint. His claim to fame was he did like 2 or 3 levitations of people live on stage at the same time. I was fascinated. He'd drive up every year to our school with a brand new Cadillac and a truckload of magic. And I always said, oh, let me help you set it up. And, so I was always the awkward offstage assistant and helping out and stuff. And he did a version of that model where he did fundraisers for the schools. And so I'm going to say if I were to give credit where credit is due, I think that's where that idea came from. But I'm not exactly sure. But here was the core thing. It was so much easier to go to a school or a group or organization or whatever and say, there's 2 ways we can work together. One where you pay me, the other where I pay you. Which would you like to talk about first?
Yeah.
And so you didn't have to have any sales skills. You didn't have to be very good at anything, because you're saying, hey, listen, I'll come and do all this cool, fun, free stuff for you, and I'll pay you too. So
it's hard to say no. You made it easy for them to say yes. Yeah. You just made it. And then they had fun and they made money. Yeah.
Right.
So this, and I would assume that, of course, when somebody has that kind of experience, they're going to tell somebody else, hey, this is great.
Absolutely.
And so they get referrals. And so you started to build a business, obviously. And then you did get into we're having fun talking about how you're doing this as a boy for these gigs. And, it's like you're saying, you can help them get a little bit of revenue and stuff for whatever cause it is. But then you had a huge business. I mean, you were traveling around with semis and stuff. So what was I guess I'm jumping ahead too fast. How did you, when did it start to just take off? Like where you knew like, look, I think we could get I could put things in an 18-wheeler and travel the country and do this.
Right. It wasn't like a one moment in time kind of thing, you know.
Okay.
It was a gradual, you know, obviously it started, you know, doing a full night's illusion show out of a Dodge Dart. And then, then I had to get a truck, and then a van, and then a bigger truck, and then on it went. So it was just over time. But you're right, the invitation was sort of irresistible to prospective buyers and audiences and organizations. So it was a pretty steady, swift grow in that respect, and that I had more people interested in having us and hosting us than there was time and resources to actually support that. So, you know, ended up duplicating the process through licensees, taught them the principles and process, and had them start doing the same thing as a magician or as a speaker or as whatever. So, so we're able to kind of duplicate the demand and the results for other folks. So
you learned how to scale it. It wasn't, you know, because it sounded like at some point, because it's output, it's you are the product. So you can only be in so many places at once, which I know is a game changer now with the way that the digital platforms have just opened up a ton. I know, but you know, we're talking about a time where you're having to physically be with people at events.
To dial a phone.
Yeah. And I saw what you just did. You did the rotary. Exactly.
Some people, by the way, kids listening, that's how you used to call people, was you picked up a phone that was attached to the wall.
And it was a blast, by the way. It was an absolute blast. It has not been fun not being able to hang up on people like you used to be able to back in the day. Now it's so
you don't get that same thing.
Nothing.
Okay.
It's nothing now. It's nothing. And people are like, hello. When you got hung up on a landline, you heard the click, chink. You heard it. You know, you heard it smack, right? You knew you were getting hung up on. And my buddies and I would hang up on each other just in fun, like just because it was always part of like a gag, right? You could just hang up on somebody for whatever reason. I do miss the hang up.
Click.
I miss the hang up.
Click.
Exactly. You'd ask them a question, as soon as they started to answer, you just hang up. It was the equivalent of when somebody starts to talk now and somebody just goes. It was the same thing. I miss those times. I mean, you know, of course, now the cell phone's amazing for all kinds of stuff that you can do. But you know, you are literally pounding out the pavement. You're out in with your show, your team, and you know, I've heard off air some of the paid gigs you had for even 90-second gigs. Like I've heard these crazy stories of these crazy payouts of once you had a name and a brand and knew how to take care of people, there are still and were then people that wanted to pay you to come do this super cool, amazing stuff. Because it's a game changer for organizations and for people to have somebody come in that can literally teach through entertainment and through, you know, open up people through entertainment. And I know you have special words for this, by the way, for those that you might hear it through the interview, but you would definitely see it if you reach out to Dino. But if you see, when we give you his websites, you are the master at coming up with marketing tags in seconds, like just bam, 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 bam. You got tons of them. And we love to call you the Dean of Success, which I think is super cool and super fun. But another one you did for your business is Care is Magic, right? So you've got a ton of them, and we talk about this stuff all the time. So how did you land on Care is Magic?
Yeah, I think probably in large part because, you know, the Care is Magic or charismatic's hard to say even anymore. So I'm so used to saying Care is Magic. The charismatic nature of the job that I have, which is performing,
charismatic. I'm saying it wrong. I was saying it wrong, wasn't I? Okay.
No, you were saying it right, but it was originally it came from the charismatic, you know, being charismatic, right?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And and then it evolved into the heart-centered focused of people first, which is care is magic, because care is magic. And that's the magic that makes our businesses work. Because I'll tell you a little bit of a secret. When I went out to serve groups and organizations and schools and nonprofits and even, corporate Fortune 500, Fortune 100, Fortune 1 million, it doesn't matter. It was rarely, if ever, about getting the gig, making the payday, creating a paycheck. It was about creating value that then I would get rewarded for the results I helped produce for others. So it was almost a partnership. Even when a corporation would hire me, pay me a check, my goal was to outserve, outdeliver, outcare any opportunity that was given to me. So, and that in itself, and we talk about branding and all that other stuff. I'm not a big advocate for the word brand, because I think it's only half the experience. And it's for me, it's brand experience. The experience you create with and for others by making more deposits and withdrawals, etc. So my goal was simply to create more value for people than they could ever hope to remunerate me for. So, and that's where sort of the use me and abuse me policy came from. Hey, if I'm there, I'll do some close-up magic. Hey, if I'm there, I'll MC your event. If I'm there, I'll take pictures and create a video reel that you can share with people. If I'm there, because I'll help set up tables, I'll help put out chairs, I'll help, and that's an unusual perspective for many business owners, especially.
Indeed.
We're in the ego world and an ego industry, performing and presenting. I don't want to be perceived as putting out the chairs or setting the tables or, any of that stuff.
I think it's great you do it. I think it's terrific that you do it. And I know that you're, like we were talking about earlier, you're not spending a lot of time talking about brand, but the truth is people give you that. Like, people will be the ones that will say that. You just allow the marketplace to say, this is what Dean Hankey does for us. The guy will, and that's a great opportunity to go build rapport and work the room before the event even starts. Like, you get to develop relationship and rapport so that when it is time to be entertaining, when you're on stage, you have a little bit of rapport, you know who to potentially call out, personalities, you've got names, all of that. I know that's not why you're doing it, but it's a really nice byproduct of connecting with people, is that you've got a little bit of rapport and relationship. So when it's time to go, you're like, great, I've already talked to Sherry, I've already talked to Jake, I've already talked to Bill, and they know it. But the cool part of it is for people to be able to see, like, hey, this is the talent that's actually unfolding the chairs and, saying hi to people. And somebody comes into the event and says, where do I put my jacket? You don't say, that's not what I do, or I don't work here. That's somebody else. You just go, hey, let me grab it for you. I'll put it over here. One of those things, right? And all of a sudden they're talking to the MC and they don't have any idea. That's a brand. And I know that you weren't out to like create that as a brand, but it is, like, because if that's where you go and people know that's what you do, then that's what people say when they give you referrals and stuff like that. So, and it works, obviously. It works fantastic because you've proven, time and time again that it does. Because you've had clients, right, that you've had for, well, how long have you had, like, what's the longest running span that you've had a client? Or I know you don't like clients. What other word would you use?
Partnerships. One of our champion partners has been
there it
with
is. That's
us
the word.
For 47 years.
47 years. I mean, you're only 3 years older than that. And so for the but
I like to think all those years of prison that are complete wasted.
We'll get into that later. Which is, I think you are broadcasting from I can't even say it because I started to laugh. But when you have somebody, and I said clients, I know you don't like to use that word because you're using partnerships and champion partnerships and
family, rock stars, heroes, legends.
It works. And obviously 47 years. So when people hear that and go, we're trying to keep clients for 18 months, 2 years. I said clients. We're trying to keep, our partners, our rock stars. What do you say? Like we already talked about, hey, leave your ego out of it, serve them, be available for, what else is it?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. And you've heard me say this a million times. Well, here's 1,000,001. The goal, the rule is never leave the sight of a human interaction without creating value.
Yeah.
If that's all we ever do in our life, in our business, in our encounter with our family, with our spouse, never leave the sight of a human interaction without creating value. If that's all we do, would our life be much richer? And will, as a business perspective, would people be more or less likely and willing to, I don't know, help us back, like continue to stay with us or do business or recommend or refer or any of those kinds of things, make it emotionally, spiritually, relationally, intellectually, financially irresponsible for them to say anything but yes when it comes to, would you like to continue to have us support you and serve you? And because it's not, there is a transactional aspect to it. It's like,
Sure.
I'm going to say this and you probably laugh, but it's like friends with benefits, So it's a whole nother company. They pay us to be friends. And that's an okay thing. Like if you're talking to somebody and they're a client or a customer or a suspect or a prospect or a victim, or if they're a rock star, a hero, a legend, a member of the community or family or tribe, is that, if what would you rather be, a customer or client or a member of this family?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works. It works. But it's one thing to say, it's another thing to do it. And
That's right.
and that's what, you're delivering, no doubt about it. And so, when you have that kind of relationship with people, the great news is that a lot of things get uncovered, like what else you can do together, what else you can work on, because you're starting to, the rapport is there, but it's also like, yeah, we do this other thing. And, we think that you could probably come in and help with this too. Or, and we've talked about that before. The great news is working with somebody like you is, even if that isn't you, meaning it might not be the right fit, you're the first one to be able to say, you know what, that isn't something that I think I could do for what you're looking for, but I can help get somebody for you. So you're still serving them and you're still taking care of them. Absolutely. And so, as we talk about having some of these partners, some of these rock stars, these champion partners, getting them is still, you still have to be out hustling and talking to people. And hustling's a great word. Like you're out, you're networking, you're doing all that stuff. You've used some super fun and cool, crazy ways to be able to connect with somebody. There's a story that we're going to get, but before I'll mention one. I know that you have mailed somebody a shoe, like, just trying to get my foot in the door, which I think is super clever. But you've also mailed something else that is even more cool than a shoe. You know what I'm talking about. So would you please tell us that story?
Yeah. So, living in the Northern California region, Silicon Valley, and technology was just booming. This was for the big bubble bust and all that other stuff. And I was trying to get the attention of a very well-known organization whom, if I said, you would know exactly who I'm talking about. And I don't know that I am legally bound not to say who it is, but let's just say, it's not Fruit of the Loom. But it is, a super tech company, probably the most profitable organization ever on the planet. And anyway, I was having trouble getting the attention of the CEO, who was the decision maker and the buyer for these events. So I took the liberty of mailing myself to his office directly. Now, it's more of a courier service. I had created a big box and I had him enclose me in this box, and then, like shackles attached to the briefcase, kind of armed guard service. And I'm sorry, we have to deliver this directly to, we need a signature from. And by the way, it could have went very, 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 very badly.
Can you imagine, especially these days? Can you imagine showing up with a box that big? Yeah. Somebody with handcuffs tied to a briefcase?
Right.
You'd probably get shot. You'd still be in jail.
Yeah, exactly. Again, different time, different
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
I've done it a couple of times since, but that was the first big Ferrier movement to that kind of thing. I figure, hey, if I'm in the entertainment industry, even my marketing should be entertaining. So we'd send
that's a
a
good
party
point.
in a box, even if it was just a quick delivery box, and then when you open up, poppers would go off and confetti would come out and balloons. Anyway, so I mailed myself there, and they open up the box per the instruction, and I pop out, and and like I say, it could have went very, very bad, and let's just say you had a good job.
I love the hints. It's
Anyhow, so fortunately, delightfully, he was impressed, and since then I've done many, many, many figures worth of used to entertain literally for almost all his home private personal parties and events, and did many, many of the corporate events all around the Bay Area and stuff like that as a result of that risk, but that unique unique delivery. So
no doubt about it. You stepped out, like you said, could have gone a lot of different ways, but you ended up, it paid off. It worked.
Yeah, it worked.
And,
luckily.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the cool thing about it. Like you get the nudge and an inspiration to do something that likely, if anybody else was doing it, there wouldn't be many. So you're going to stand out, no doubt about it. And if it doesn't pay off, then you try something else. I mean, I'm reading stories. I'm rereading How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. It's such a great book. Even if you don't worry, it's just a great, I mean, his case studies in there are people that overcame stuff, that tried stuff, failed, came back. And I mean, his stuff's full of that, of course.
Yep.
But you don't know until you step out and do that. And it paid off. Not everything that obviously you tried paid off, but that one did. Yep. And then so would you say, like, when you land something like that and now it opens it up because you have a very high profile partnership with a very high profile person and very high profile company that everybody in the whole world would know.
Right.
So you can, did it open your mind and open up this whole thing for you to go, wow, now this is what's possible? Like, where you were at a level where performing and just living your life, but now as soon as you got that, did it just open like your mind to like, whoa, there's way more than I thought?
I mean, obviously you have to, just like investing, this is investing your time, talent, treasure, trust, etc. So you have to, check your pulse for your risk aversity. Are you willing to take some risks? Like, I was always sending what we now refer to as lumpy mail or 3D mail, or I'd mail, as you said, shoes or tea bags and envelopes, and I mean, just whatever, any idea, and then tie it back to a question. You're probably wondering why I've included this plastic army man in your envelope. Well, we know that competing for entertainment attention is like a war, and I want to make sure that you're loaded for etc. On and on and on, whatever it happens to be. So this was just a next level for 3D mail.
Gotcha.
3D, and that's the way because if you wanted somebody's attention, you couldn't just email them, because email did not exist. There was no such thing,
which I wonder, like, these days, if going back to some of because everybody's bombarded with stuff, right? I mean, just digitally hammered.
Preach.
Like, I mean, to go back to the fun stuff, right? That I think would work. I mean, you get something in the mail now, what everybody just was getting so tired of getting junk mail and stuff. People get excited. You see the major companies, like whether it's telecom companies or fiber companies, and they're trying to make the marketing look like it's handwritten. I mean, we know it's not, but it's your brain like looks at it differently, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute for a second. So it does do its job. It catches you, and you're like, okay, but it still is computer generated. It's just a different font. But when you get something that a human packed and wrote down and you know, unique. I know you can't do this to 500 people, but maybe you don't need to, you know, or maybe you could, but it would take a while. My point in saying this is like, find the people that you're really interested in working with and get super creative on how to connect with them, and you will stand out. You know, like you don't have to stalk them on social media and do that stuff. Everybody's already doing that anyway. And just, you know, to use your, well, you got so many of these like Dinoisms. I was getting ready to say one, but it wasn't the perfect fit. And that was, you know, be more interested than interesting. But it goes along the same lines of like,
it's
you're
true.
just, you're working on a way to be able to say, hey, I want to connect with you. Like,
Right.
you're the person, excuse me, I want to spend time with, to get to know, and your business and so on. Excuse me. And I'm going to take a quick drink of water. While I'm taking this drink of water, you were talking about all that stuff that you would send out. What about magic dust?
Oh, I love invisible magic dust. Well, originally it wasn't just magic dust. Originally, before September 11th, it was when it was talcum powder or cornstarch or dirt out of the flower bed or whatever dust I could find. And I put it in an envelope and just say, hey, here's a rare sample of magic dust. Use it to whatever. And then as of September 11th, you couldn't do that, you know,
No.
I mean, without going to jail.
Right.
And so what was interesting about that was as soon as it went to invisible magic dust, the response rate jumped initially and has skyrocketed since then, 37% on my first, because invisible magic dust is way more interesting than magic dust, just physical dust, right? So, and there's a little backstory to it, and it's a cute little novelty. But just imagine for a second, you know, somebody sends you a very rare sample of, I happen to have one here, invisible magic dust. Now, yeah. And they send it to, whether it's in a baggie or whether it's, you know, whatever it happens to be. And it comes with a little booklet and you know, and how invisible magic dust is mined by 6-foot invisible magic rabbits off the coast of Angola in a place called Dustola, and
you made all this up?
all that stuff. Actually had some help from some people on the story part, but yeah, absolutely. And now it's just, imagine getting that and nothing else. No invitation to work with me, no marketing hoopla, none of that stuff. Just, hey, just wanted to send you a very rare sample of invisible magic dust designed specifically to make your event planning's headaches magically disappear. You know, I mean, that's if you wanted to make a little marketing message, but just, hey, use this to make your bills disappear, problem children go away, you know, you know, whatever. Just as a fun little thing. Now, if I follow up with like a postcard or a phone call, you think they're going to take that call?
Yeah, right. I mean, more likely, right? You're the guy that was crazy enough to send him this thing in the mail that, you
Thin
know.
air.
Yeah, right, right. Hey, well, if they can print money out of thin air, then why can't you send a bottle of thin air?
Yeah, that's
And,
exactly right. That's exactly.
I mean, if we're all making stuff
here
up
it
and
is.
it's all make believe right now.
Here's a collection of invisible magic dust. So you get the idea, but it's
do.
just fun. And like when they get the envelope, it's a little lumpy.
Yeah, it's not
Dude,
flat
so
to
they're
where
going
it's
like,
like everything else.
"What's
Like, what's
in
in there?
there?"
What's in there?
You know, or you hand it to them, or you include it with a proposal or a package. Anyway, so that's just another fun kind of, you know,
Yeah.
everybody's gotten that pen with the name on it of the company. Well, what value does that deliver to that group or organization other than maybe your brand name, not your brand,
Right.
although it is part of the brand experience, not a good experience perhaps, but an experience nonetheless. But
Yeah, and that might work for, you know, certain organizations to
sure.
buy 50,000 of those and constantly be giving them out so people see them.
Yeah.
But for what you're looking to do, yeah, this is different. And I'll just say, I'll repeat what you mentioned earlier, because I think it's worth repeating. That is, hey, if your business is fun, then why don't just make your marketing fun? Like, so that they're already starting to get an idea of like who you are, what you're made of. So what's one of the weirdest or craziest gigs that you've had? Like what there probably isn't just one, because you have thousands of these, just thousands and thousands of them. But is there one that sticks out? That's like, man, this was weird.
There's like a ton of them. We were on another charismatic or fundraising tour. We happened to be in, I want to say Twin Falls, Idaho.
Come on.
But I don't remember. We were at a theater there, and the theater held, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,200 people. Not a big theater, but not a small theater either, right? Anyway, so we're on tour with our semis and our trucks, and we're loading in and stuff like that. And so we do the show, and this is the weirdest thing. And of course, there's always a producer or a host, which is whatever nonprofit group or organization or hospital or whatever group or Kiwanis or whatever group we're working with in that particular destination, because it's a fundraiser. Anyhow, so we're doing our show. The pyro's going off on time, and we're nailing the jokes, and the magic is working out perfectly, and everything's going off. Boom, 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 boom. And yet, at the normal applause cues, you could literally, not figuratively, but literally count the claps in the room. Like, boom, we just made a car vanish out of thin air. Boom. And you hear,
Oh, no.
and of course, because we know we're not there for us, we're there for, we continue on. And so we're go backstage,
you're not gonna just leave.
everything, we're done, audience is leaving, the producer, the host comes backstage, comes barreling down at me, and I say, stop, I know what you're thinking. I've never seen, that's never happened. I've never seen that happen. And he goes, neither have I. I've never seen them go so crazy in all my life. Can you stay for 3 more shows?
No,
Because
no
we
meaning.
sold
Who
out.
are these people?
And I'm going like, pick my jaw up the floor, clink.
Yeah.
And yeah, of course we stayed and we did it, and all that was all great. But it was like a fish farm. It was like, I mean, it was more of a painting than it was an audience,
But he apparently knew his audience, huh?
He
So they
knew
must
his
have come
audience.
up afterward. And
Yeah.
how about the uncomfortability of just killing it on stage and then absolutely no feedback whatsoever from your
My goodness.
audience.
And the upshot is,
That'd be tough.
I no longer have the right to decide for my audience how they experience just like in branding.
Oh, interesting.
I don't get to choose how people experience me. I get to partner with them on that experience, but ultimately I cannot choose how they're going to like it, not like it, respond, not respond. Again, they were wildly enthusiastic by every standard in that town, in that time.
It's interesting if that happens midstream. So that was at the end of it, right? So if that happens, or was it was, thank God, literally, that it was at the end of it instead of like the middle of it. And,
it was the whole show.
Oh, so you still have to go on. You still have to go on and smile on your face and just get after it and all of that, even though in your mind, which is tough to do anywhere if you don't get the response of your audience, to just keep going. Yeah. Because who knows? They might be this audience where, they're.
We've all had lackluster audiences.
Sure, it's part of it.
We make a post and we get nobody comments or likes, and we get that just happens. You just go on, having, literally had 25, 30 years worth of experience, even at that point, that I realized, I'd be singing in a corner of a nightclub and people would literally just I'm in competition with their prime rib. They're eating, having no interest or attention on me. And I knew that's what the gig was.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there singing cocktail music and dinner music. And then towards the end, I amp it up and we'd start dancing and stuff like that. But, just knew what the deal was. And of course, you'd have good, better, and best audiences always, but never had that before or since. That kind of literally like an oil painting.
Speaking of audiences, is there just a clear difference between an audience in a show town like Reno and
Sure.
Vegas than anywhere else? Like, is it, what are the differences? Like, is it consistently different?
There is consistent differences. I will tell you that an educated audience, like in Reno and Vegas and New York and LA and Texas, some of the big show places, honestly, the best audiences are small town audiences who never have the opportunity to have the kind of experience that a big show can bring. Like we tour, our favorite places were, the roadside stand of communities. These little towns, and we get the whole town show up at the theater for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, 7 shows. And, and they were super appreciative, super grateful, super, maybe they didn't know how to respond because they'd never been to a live show before or seen that much, but they were incredibly grateful, incredibly, and it all comes sort of naturally. But there's a huge difference between what you see on TV and having a live theatrical interactive experience with somebody if you don't have the experience. To a sophisticated audience, they know that you're supposed to clap. So you go to Reno or Tahoe or wherever, and there's a kind of a social construct, an agreement. But in some of these cool small towns, it was the only chance that you got to see, especially magic at that time, a magician who saw these people in multiple pieces and restore them right before your very eyes, or whatever it happened to be. Speak, preach, teach, nag, serve, support, encourage, whatever we were doing from the stage or platform. So it was frankly a little bit, I felt like we were having a greater impact because a smaller community was being greatly impacted as opposed to some great vast metropolitan area,
So do you, I know you do a lot, of course, digitally now.
Yeah.
Do you miss being out and touring and going in and out of those small towns?
I'm a huge fan of human. So I love to be with people directly. Clicking from place to place will never replace face to face. It just won't.
Amen to that. Yep.
But there are things that we can do online that we could never accomplish live and in a room. And there are things you could do live and in a room that you could never accomplish digitally and online. Like the reach. I could talk to people in Dubai, in San Francisco, in my neighbor next door, all at the exact same time in the reach, and have the reach and the impact that goes with that in a digital environment. So yeah, I love the digital workspace. And we have, we can do, cool, fun things and go, hello there. You can't tell because of the nature of the screen, but you can do things here that I could call up my PowerPoints and, of a presentation or a visual nature of something, let me give another one here. Here, look, there, it's my hand. So I could be writing something over here while talking to you about whatever's going on. And, anyway, you get the idea. So
I do, but there still is and I do get the idea, and I think it is super powerful if you can do it right, because you got to be keeping people's attention, and now this is the very common for a lot of people to be in front of their screens and looking at screens and stuff. So here we go again. You got to find a way to stand out, just like you did back in the day with mailing yourself to somebody's office and all the stuff. Like, it just comes down to how are you going to be setting yourself apart from the rest of the field in order to get the attention of the people. Like, can you do some of the magic on, like, I know some of it's not going to work, but does a fair amount of it work on a digital call?
With very little exception, it all works.
Oh, wow.
Because it's, we live in a world of attentionomics, and I don't care whether it was 1961 or 1991 or 2001 or today, 2026. Thank you very little.
Yeah, what about that?
That it's still all about attentionomics. How do you get attention? Well, part of it is you give attention. If you want to be valuable to people, you must first be valuable to people. So how do you do that? Is you give them something that's attention worthy, or that whether it's in your marketing, in your business card, in your invisible magic dust, in your mailing yourself, and whatever it happens to be, in your brand style, in your experience, the value you want to bring. And it might be, you have a conservative brand, and doing that may not make sense for you. And that's fine, mailing yourself, or mailing a shoe, or mailing a small garbage can, or any number of things that message in a bottle. That may not be on brand. Or it may be that you want to exercise that distinction-making difference of doing something that's outside of the brand experience, helping to expand not the brand but the experience, for them. And using these physical, digital ways. Just a super simple example in the digital environment is what and what we talk about is V-mail. V as in video email. So imagine for a second that as a marketer, instead of sending just a text, or sending a black letters on a white email screen, or any of those things, that you actually send maybe a couple of words. Hey Tim, great to see you today. Took a couple of seconds just to record this super short personalized video. Click here. Nothing to download, just it's all safe, it's all good. And then the video comes up and it just says, hey Tim, what an awesome treat to meet you today. Loved absolutely this thing we talked about, or whatever we're talking, and you record a super short, super personal, like one-on-one little video female, right? And and it takes me 18, 20 seconds. How long does it take to shoot or create an 18-second video? I don't know.
18 seconds.
Seconds, right? Exactly. So, and it's a whole lot faster, a whole lot more, and they get to see you, and they get to see your expression, and see that you're not, the purple one-eyed monster, whatever it is.
I'd love to interview that guy, by the way.
What a great way to create, even in a digital environment, a real human connection.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's go down that road. Let's go down that path of the human connection in a digital world. It's obviously getting more, it's getting easier to connect with technology than people. And, of course, with AI, that's becoming an easier way for people to learn things and find out things, and chat with a bot or chat with AI rather than a human.
Oh my
so
goodness.
How are and that's not slowing down, and that's going to continue to do what it does, and who knows what that's going to look like for even the next 6 months, right? Things are going to continue. They're moving so fast. How are you keeping the human connection and still leverage, because you're a technology guy, you love the tech and you leverage it and you use it for, you don't have an aversion to it. So how are you doing this where you're using it, plugging into it, but also just staying, keeping the human side of it?
I think the distinction that needs to be made, and that is this, is that I thank you very much. I appreciate your accolade and all that. And truth be told, I am not a technical guy. What I am is a people person who has chosen to use and leverage technology. And I remember the day, I remember where I was sitting, I remember what I was doing, and I remember the day that I chose to use technology versus letting technology use me. And what a powerful shift, what a powerful paradigm shift in how it is. But most of those kinds of things, for instance, most people make a lot of assumptions. Right now, you're probably thinking that I can see really good because I have these glasses on. Well, the truth of the matter is, if you look really careful, you'll see that these glasses don't even have any lenses, and I am all but blurry blinded right now.
So this whole time, which is great for anybody that can see the video, you've had these glasses on since we started 45 minutes ago.
I actually changed them out. I very purposely do this so you see the reflection, and then I tilt them so that you can't. And then at one point I take them on and off, and then I just swapped them for these ones, and we had about a 5-minute conversation.
I didn't even see it.
See, that's the thing is something silly like that. Say, hey, listen, sometimes things aren't always as clear as we think they are. As a matter of fact, if you knew what I could see right now, you would want more clarity as well, right? And you can make a point about it and see. I don't care if you're in the financial space or if you're in the health and wellness or the relationship space. You could put on a piece of some frames and saying, I really want to understand. I want to really get as clear as we possibly can without anything between us. And then just toss them aside and saying, I really want to get real. I want to be able to hear and understand whatever it happens to be for you in your business, but it's not difficult. Can I give you a sort of a sample example that works in both places? The fizzy-digi space, whether physical or digital, offline, or online, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And this is one you're familiar with, but this is just a calling card, right? It's my name and stuff on it like that, and so now you know it. So I'm going to ask you to play along.
Yep.
But imagine for a second you sent one of those famous little V-mails, and instead of just saying, "Hi, how are you?" and a few other things like that, saying, "I'm so excited to meet you. As a matter of fact." I've made a prediction. I think I already know what you're going to say. So when we get together, what I want you to do is I want you to remind me of this little prediction, and I'll share with you. And then leave it at that. Don't even reveal the prediction. And when they get together, they go, there's already a curiosity, a lean-in moment. And then second of all, and this is sort of, for all intent and purpose, this is a very bad magic joke is where it came from. But so, Tim, what I want you to do is think of any one of the 52 playing cards. Now, clearly I have one card in my hand, one card and only one card. I can't change my mind. Not really happy with the mind I have, but I'm stuck with what we're working with here. So do me a favor. Think of any one of the 52 cards. Have you got one? Perfect. That
I got
one there. Yeah, good. All right. So the first time aloud, so everybody can hear us, what was the one card you were thinking of only a moment ago?
Queen of Spades.
The Queen of Spades. Wrong. Take off all your clothes. What are you laughing about? You've seen yourself. Okay, so
Yeah,
I get it.
we
All
did
right.
that before we even started the show.
Now you'll notice that the prediction, the one card, has never left your sight. Hasn't gone out of sight of the
Has
camera
not.
view. So what was your card? The what?
Queen of Spades?
Queen of Spades. Would you like to change your mind?
No.
Happy with the mind you have. All right.
Yep.
The Queen of Spades. A little hard to see at first, but if you look really careful, you'll see there the Queen of Spades. Anyway, you get the idea. And this is called 52 and 1. This is an old magic joke and so on and so forth. But now it becomes an experience. Here's what will happen. Physically or digitally, you will remember this CEO experience, Chief Experience Officer moment. You will remember this. If I were to throw this in a pile of 50,000 business cards and you came across, you will remember the experience we had together with this silly piece of cardstock.
No doubt. And for those that couldn't see the video, the card stock it is the size of a regular playing card, but on the back of it is every card in the 52 card deck.
That's right.
So it doesn't matter what somebody says. It's on there. That's the joke. So,
Yeah.
but you're right. You'd have to have a lot of life between seeing that and seeing the person again to forget that.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to remember.
Yep.
And you're having fun. Again, that back to you were saying, you're having fun by connecting with people. That's different and unique. And isn't it true, like if somebody was just, this guy is annoying, I don't want to, well, it wouldn't be a good fit anyway. Like,
Right.
It wouldn't be the right fit.
Thank you, Jesus, for saying it. Come on now, preach it, brother. Listen,
Right?
if you're not
you wouldn't
a
have any
fit-
fun working together.
Stop trying to fit in.
Yeah.
You know, start trying to be in and be the person you're supposed and called and created to be. And if you can serve the
Come
people
on.
within that context, then go and serve. If you can't, recommend, refer, support them in getting the solution they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just be you. The old adage, what everybody else has taken, just be you. And thank you very much. I appreciate that. Come on, man.
Well, no doubt. No doubt. Well, you are you, which makes it so fun and unique. And there is nobody like you, which is so much fun to interview you because it is unique. I mean, we're talking about a lot of stuff that you do, but you go way beyond this. Like you clearly are an encourager. You're you help people put things together to better themselves and their organizations. Like that's on top of all the rest of the stuff that you're doing for nonprofit organizations to help them increase their revenues and exposure and stuff like that. There is this just, being available to help people get better at the version of them. And by using all of these skills and resources and stuff like that, it's unique. It's I know the term that's used so often, but it's just a cheap term now, is personal development. But what would you say? Like that's the one that brings everybody in. Like, okay, I get that, but what would you call it? How would you explain it?
Yeah, I mean, the super simple answer, I think, is just I don't sell anything. We don't sell anything. We just help people uncover the best, most possible, probable, and even profitable solution for them. And if I'm it, tag, let's play. If not, then again, so be it, and let's help you get that. So it's making more deposits than withdrawals. I know that sounds kind of, a little soft and smushy and all that other kind of stuff. But honestly, the more value you create, the more impact and income you'll make. So your job, iPhone's job, any job of any product, service, solution, program, product, service, solution, coach, mentor, consultant, business, grocery store, it doesn't matter. The most successful businesses have one thing in common. They create value over and above the return on investment, the exchange of value. So the reason you're wanting to spend thousands of dollars on a mobile phone with iPhone, with Apple, is because they've created more value than the competition. That's it. End of story. And I wish it were more difficult than that, but it's not.
Yeah, breaking it down to make it simple. I mean, that's an oatmeal raisin cookie right out of the oven. That is like
Rolls Royce or Yugo. It's not. It's a value proposition.
Yeah. Yeah, you've said so many times for the people that are on the other end of it, is it worth it for them? Right. Like, is it? And that is the other side of the value. If the value is there, then it is worth it for them. Like those two go hand in hand. Exactly. Most people are constantly thinking about that. Is it worth it for me to engage in it? Is it worth it for me to do this? Is it worth it for me to do this on their business? And so on. It's so how are you doing all this right now? Like you've got we can send people to your website and stuff like that, but what are they going to find out? And what are the, potentially for people that are looking to connect with you, what are they going to see when they go to deanhankey.com? And is that probably the best place? Like, is that where to start, for people to start? Like, I love what I'm hearing. This guy sounds fun. We have events that we do, or, I just want to know more about him and go see more about Dean Hankey. We'll go, that's where we want to send people, right? Is to go to
deanhankey.com.
Yep. Hankey. It's Dean Hankey, Hankey.com. We'll have the notes in the link in the show notes as well. But there you'll be able to get an idea of there's ways that people can connect with you through there too, right?
Cool. Then here's what I'll do as well. In the show notes, we will put free, no opt-in, no slimy sales page, ugly opt-in, any of that stuff. We'll provide a free value-added training, which is just...
Ooh, come on.
Yeah, just sort of the VIP charismatic principles at work and how you can use it to grow your business, your influence, your impact, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or whether you're a multi-million-dollar CEO, CTO, EFO, EIO, it doesn't matter. Whatever you happen to do, these tools and principles will help you grow your reach and influence and impact, and ultimately, but in addition to your income. So we'll provide that in the show notes below. So
yeah, right on. This is there's so much more to what you're doing, but when we're to have an episode where you can talk about it and just stay at the top of the iceberg level to where someone can learn a lot more by drilling down. But there's so many more stories that I've heard just over the years that are a blast. But what I have come to know for sure from you is that you care about people. Like as we continue to move into this digital world and using products and having products think for you and stuff like that, you have managed to stay on the human side of it and to use those tools for what they're good for. But you just, you focus on people. And another thing that you've said for so long is, what is it, Dean? It's know people. I mean, we're going
and that's absolutely right. Here's what we know. I mean, our goal as a business is simply to serve our way to success. Serve our way to success. Because here's what we know. If there are no people, N-O, like zero people, no success. But when we know, K-N-O-W, when we truly know people, we will then truly know success because we will know how to serve. How do I know if you come on to, I don't know, let's say we were talking, I think, earlier today about an automobile lot. And, somebody comes onto an automobile lot, and instead of trying to find out more about them, you simply say, hey, I've got this red Ferrari, and they're a family of 8. It's not enough.
not the right fit.
Not the right fit. So just be more curious, so get to know people. And then you can know how to make deposits, by the way. Know how to make more deposits. If I make deposits based on what I think is valuable, it may or may not be a deposit for you, right? VIP,
doubt.
add value that generates impact for others, and then share in the profits. And when I say profits, I mean emotional, spiritual, relational, intellectual, and as business owners, financial. So add value that generates impact for others, real results, and then you share in the profits. That's it. End of story. If that's all you do in your life and in your business, with your spouse, with your kids, with your family, with the people at work in the cubicle next to you, or in your answer twos or answer fours, whatever. Just never leave the side of a human interaction without creating value. Add value that generates impact. And then we will share in the profits.
Right on. Right on, brother. Great way to wrap it up. And look, I love hanging out with you. This is so much fun. So thanks for coming on to the show. And I really encourage people to go just connect with Dean, take a look at his site. We'll put that information that Dean's talking about in the show notes. Dean, so much fun. Just a blast to hang out with you here, and have a great start to the new year. This is the 2nd of January. Just, here we are, 2026, and it's going to go. So, for people that are, if this is, something that's making an impact in somebody's life just by hearing you talk, then make it the year where you reach out and learn more about it. So, Dean, thanks, brother.
Love you, brother. I appreciate you.
Love you too, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate you too. You have a great day. We'll be talking to you again soon.
All right. Yep, sir.